Right, let's get cracking. Coming up, it's another Loco repair challenge. All these engines have been broken, mistreated, or literally just left to rot. I'm going to try and fix them up so that these forgotten models can be enjoyed once again. But there is a catch. Each repair job has a time limit, and this is decided by the Time-O-Matic machine. If the time runs out before the repairs are complete, then the engine will go to the evil scrapman.
I am the scrapman.
This season, the engines are in worse condition than ever before, and the time limits are tighter than ever before. So this time, my skills will truly be put to the test. Welcome to Salvage or Scrap. Let's take a look at this season's remaining putrid Pacifics, trashed trains, and wrecked workhorses. Today's locomotive is a 1989 Hornby Class A1 Royal Lancer, which I purchased for £21. I think it's fairly obvious what's wrong with this one, but let's take a closer look anyway. Clearly this Loco is missing some parts. It hasn't got its smoke box door, and the smoke box door did not come with this model, so that is completely missing. And one of the nameplates seems to be missing above the centre splasher as well, which is an annoying problem. I've also noticed that one of the metal tyres on one of the wheels is starting to come off. I think that problem looks worse than it is, but it will need addressing before this thing will work. Other than that though, the rest of the cosmetics seem to be fine. I would say the bulk of the detail is intact, and it's a little bit grubby around the edges, but not too dirty, certainly serviceable I think. This is also a tender-driven Loco, which is not my favourite sort of design. They can be quite finicky, of course, as well. So let's give this a test. Let's see if there's any sign of life. Okay, so that's power supplied. This is tender-driven again, so I'm looking at the tender wheels. They're jerking. I'm not even having to prod this one. They are jerking, just inching forwards. So there is some sign of life here. There is power getting to the motor, and the motor is turning a little bit, but obviously in a very laboured way. In fact, there's both mechanical and cosmetic work to do here, and to do both properly is obviously going to take quite some time. So how long have I got for this challenge? Time-O-Matic, if you will. 28 minutes. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Obviously, on the grand scheme of things, that's still not a lot of time, but I'm hoping it will be enough for me to have a good go. So first things first, I've got some replacement parts to make, so I've got to get that 3D printer started straight away. And then I've got to open up that tender and see what's going on inside, and keep my fingers crossed that I can fix whatever's wrong. So please wish me luck. I'm going to go and prepare. Let's get started. The rules are that I'm not allowed to go shopping for any replacement parts. I can use parts that I already have in my own stores, or I can 3D print brand new ones, but anything made this way must be printed within the time limit. Alright, the lovely Hornby A1. Hopefully there will be enough time here for me to do something for this. It's not a lot of time, so I'm not 100% confident, but I'm ready to give it a go. So, Time-O-Matic, 28 minutes please, starting in 3, 2, 1, now. Right, first job, not even going to touch the Loco. I'm running straight to the 3D printer and I'm going to get these parts printing. The estimated time to print these new parts is around 25 minutes, which of course will leave me precious little time to get them fitted, so it's essential that I get these printing as quickly as possible. And with no messing about, I've really got to crack into the Loco chassis, I think, and clean that up, make sure it's nice, free, lubricated, and also clean and picking up well. This is another tender-driven Loco, which means that the motor and mechanism are in the tender. However, the Loco still has to roll smoothly and pick up power, so it needs some attention too. And let's see if I can straighten up this tyre on this wheel. Yeah, quite easily. Alright, so they will need a clean, but I can do that later on. Okay, let's remove the rear pony truck. Okay, there we go. Now, does the base keeper come off here? Yes, it does. Okay, excellent. And what do you know, we've got bearings in here again as well. I suppose it could be these tender-driven Locos that started Hornby's tradition of fitting bearings to wheel sets. They must have realised how much they reduce friction and then carried them over to their Loco drive engines. Yeah, just got to get all the dirt off these axles, not only so that the chassis will be free rolling, but so that it conducts electricity better, because all the power for the Loco has to go through these Loco wheels and axles. So it's important that they are clean, and if I skimped on this, there's a good chance the Loco wouldn't run properly at the end of it, which would be unthinkable. Let's see if I can fix that dodgy wheel then. So we've got this tyre coming off. I'm not sure how the tyres work their way off the wheels like this, but it seems to have happened a lot on this Loco. If I don't fix it, the Loco could wobble or even jam up entirely when run. Okay, that looks a lot better. Right, oil. With the wheels fixed and the axles cleaned, I can lubricate the wheel set to make it run even smoother. And I will oil the coupling rods and such in just a moment. What I also need is a brush so I can clean up this base plate because it is very, very dusty and dirty. Don't want any of that on this. Now I think I can just go ahead and put this base back on. It's a bit of an awkward fit, this one. Why isn't it going back on? Go on. There we go, it's on. I'm going to get my soldering iron on, there we go, so that I can think about hardwiring a cable between the two, as I say. I need to find a good place on the chassis so that I can solder to it. Let's start reassembling the chassis and then I'll clean the wheels and then hopefully the soldering iron will be warmed up and I'll be ready to start putting that wire in. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Okay, let's clean the wheels and then I've got to move on to the actual mechanism because at the moment I've not even looked at that yet and I don't know how much of my time it's going to require. Why are these bogey wheels so dirty? That's so annoying. In fact, a lot of these bogey wheels are coming off their tyres. What is it with this Loco and the tyres coming off the wheels? It seems to be loads of these wheels having that problem. So I'm going to try and solder to this screw at the front if possible. Let's grab some solder, see if that's going to be possible. Running a hard-wired cable between Loco and tender should save me a lot of time. Otherwise, the electricity has to pass from the Loco chassis to the rear pony truck. From there it has to pass to the tender drawbar where finally it connects to the motor. That's a lot of potentially faulty contacts. A wire should cut all of those out and simplify this massively. So this cable is going to run just around the back here and out the body. So let's try that. And then I need to start looking at the tender. There we go. And that screw. There we go, very nice. And that should be this Loco chassis ready to go with a cable poking out the back so that it can be quite easily connected up to the tender. So there we go. Loco, you can sit there and I will deal with the cosmetics on you later on. Okay, let's pop this tender body off. So it's a slightly different motor design from the last one I looked at because there are no screws on it or anything, so I should be able to just pop the plastic tender body right off if I can find the right end from which to do that. There's a problem. The base does not want to come off and the clock is ticking. Need a bigger screwdriver to get this off. Come on, at the moment I can't get in. Is it definitely not screwed in at all? I don't think so. Oh, there we go, I got it. Okay, it's out, it's out. Right, disassembly. Let's take the gears out. My next job is to completely disassemble the mechanism so that I can clean and lubricate all the moving parts. It's a little dirty in here, I must say. Hopefully I'll be able to deal with all that. Let's get a toothbrush and let's clean those gears. Don't mind spilling a bit of IPA on the chassis because that looks dirty as well. Got 17 minutes. Whoa, this is going to be tight. I really want the mechanism sorted within the next 7 minutes then, because I want to sort out the cosmetics for at least 10 minutes because I've got nameplates and such to sort out, and they could take a little while. Now to remove the brushes and the springs from the mechanism. These are the tiny parts that deliver power to the motor, so it's very important that I don't lose them. Right, disassemble the motor. Got to pull the face off it. which is always harder to do in a hurry, annoyingly. The inside of the motor is extremely dirty. This could certainly explain why the Loco doesn't run. To be as quick and thorough as possible, I'm using the wire wheel to polish it up. Okay, it's a very quick and dirty job, but I'm hoping it will do the trick. Right, one last clean to get the rest of that dirt off. Yeah, that looks nice and clean now. So the face of the motor needs to go back on. Whip my goggles off. Now let's put some lubricant on there. Not too much because you don't want to flood the motor. Let's clean up these brushes. I really do want to get that smoke box door and nameplates fitted. How are they looking at the moment? Yeah, they seem to be coming along quite nicely, so hopefully within that 25 minutes that was estimated, I will have the parts that I need. With the motor reassembled, I'm able to test it for the first time. Is it working? Yeah, it's working. So that's a great step. The motor is alive. Very good. Okay. With the motor brought back to life, I'm able to reassemble the rest of the mechanism. And then the clip, which goes on this way. Come on, go on there properly. Under pressure, I'm having trouble refitting the clip that holds the gears. This is a fiddly piece at the best of times, but it's even more difficult now that I'm rushing. Let's try again. Tell you what, it's the stress of having to do this quickly. Right, so lubricant, let's lubricate the gears and then let's get it testing with all of the gears in and the wheels connected and just make sure it's actually going to work. Oh yeah, it's going. Thankfully, the fully assembled mechanism is working, so now I can move on to cleaning the wheels. The wheels actually aren't that dirty. It's one thing on this model that is reasonably clean, so fingers crossed everything will conduct quite nicely. 12 minutes left, so I'm really going to have to start thinking about getting everything put back together. So this centre wheel needs to go in, and then I need to figure out which way this fits into the tender chassis. I think it's this way. Yeah, that seems to fit nicely. It's time to hold these together and solder this wire in with a little bit of slack. So I'm going to cut it to that length and then solder it to the motor. And then I have finally a hardwired connection between the Loco and the tender, and the thing won't stutter. With the new wire soldered in place, that should be the mechanism finished. So at last I can refit the tender body. But now I have a vulnerable wire connecting the Loco and the tender. If the two should come uncoupled, then only the wire itself would be left holding them together. So I've decided to modify the drawbar to prevent the two from uncoupling and breaking the wire. There, so now the two are somewhat permanently coupled together. Right, I've got 9 minutes and the 3D printer has still not finished, so what I'm going to do first is start to cut out some of my nameplates. Ideally, I'd print some proper transfers for these nameplates, but they take time and precision to apply, so I've opted for quick and dirty paper ones instead. If I slip, I've got to do this again, so it's worth just being careful, but I'm just so conscious of the time. Okay, that's cut out. It looks okay, I think, so let's put that somewhere safe. And now I have to wait for the 3D printer. How's it doing? The 3D printer isn't even close to finishing, but there's not much else I can do until I've got those new parts, so all I can do is wait. Okay, what else can I do while I'm waiting? Is there anything else to be done? Smoke box, I need to prepare, I think, by taking off these little bits of wire that are in the way, so I'm going to start by snipping those off. The original smoke box door had gaps around the edges to clamp the wire handrails in place, but my smoke box door doesn't have those holes, so I'm having to remove the ends of the handrails, but they're proving too tough to snip. Let's try something a bit more heavy duty. These will nibble them off. There we go. Right, only problem is I've now pulled off all of the handrail holders, so I've got to put those back in. Okay, so please hurry up 3D printer, please hurry up. I'm taking a second to check that all of the wheels are picking up power. As you can see, it's working. Oh, so mechanically, I think the Loco is sorted. I literally have 5 minutes to fit these details on when I've got them. And yet, the 3D printer still hasn't finished. Man, this is going to be a lot tighter than I thought. There's 5 minutes left and it's still printing. This should be possible, but I won't have long. Oh, they say a watched pot never boils. I tell you what, this one is not boiling. 23 minutes in, 89% complete, and still it goes on. This is going to be close. time is running out.
3.5 minutes left. I reckon I'm gonna need at least 2 minutes to do this. Really getting close now, it's done 98%.
At long last, the new parts are ready, so now I just have to hope that they fit. If they don't, I won't have time to do a thing about it.
Let's do the smoke box door first, so pull the supports off it. How does it fit? Let's have a look. Yeah, it looks like it will, so a little glue and let's get it on. Okay, just spread a little glue around, it shouldn't need too much. Right, let's put that on. It's a little messy looking, but I haven't really had time to clean it up at all.
Fortunately, it looks like the smoke box door is a good fit. With less than 2 minutes left, it's time to try the new nameplate.
Tiny little bit of glue on the front of the nameplate, and then the nameplate itself has to go on, and then some glue on the Loco body where the nameplate is supposed to fit. If it doesn't fit, I haven't got time to 3D print another one, so this is more or less a moment of truth. Alright, it's in.
Amazingly, the new nameplate does fit, and with that, the job is done.
But if I just use that last second to wipe it, there we go. Right, Time-O-Matic, I am done. Please stop the clock, and there are 41 seconds left. Oh, man, that was a rough one. But the Loco, as far as I know, is working now mechanically, and it now has those missing parts. It's got its nameplate and it's got its smoke box door. So hopefully this will work under the final inspection. But for now, let's take it back to the workshop and find out. The Hornby A1 is back in the workshop after 27 minutes and 19 seconds of repair work. I am about to make the final inspection, but here's a reminder of how the Loco looked to begin with. This one was in quite a sorry state. The smoke box door was completely missing, and so was one of the Royal Lancer nameplates. Its metal tyres were also working their way off the wheels as well, which would have caused a real problem for this Loco running. In terms of performance, the Loco managed some twitching and a little bit of buzzing, but that was all. And here is the final result. The Loco is now complete with a new smoke box door. It doesn't look absolutely fantastic, but I think it looks better than a gaping hole in the smoke box. And we now have a plate on both sides. Again, not as good a quality as probably the original one, but again better than none at all. And of course the wheels are looking a lot better because those are nice and straight now. So the Loco's looking great now, but is it in peak mechanical condition too? Well, let's find out with the final test. Okay, it looks as though the Loco is running. Both of the axles that are driven on the tender seem to be spinning quite happily now. And has it got some grunt? Let's speed it up. Yeah, it's really got some power to it now. Let's check both directions though, just to be on the safe side. Yep, okay, so the motor has a good reliable source of power to it now, and the mechanism is running freely. That has to be a pass. I am very happy with that result. I can now officially pronounce the Loco salvaged and safe from the evil scrap man. Let's pop this Loco into the leaderboard, and as you can see, yeah, this one took me a little bit longer than the others, but that's because there was a lot more to do this time. I don't think 27 minutes is too bad at all. Anyway, this Loco is now fit to return to the rails, and there it goes. And if you'd like a chance to own this very Loco, bids are now open on eBay for it. So if you'd like to place a bid, the link is in the description for you. For now though, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on Salvage or Scrap.